Hi, everybody. I just got done with a quite uneventful phone call with the FBI over some statements I've made, or rather, a character that I created had made about January 6th and polyamorous relationships uh, being mandated by the state. In that video where I basically tried to surmise that Jan Sixers can't get laid. That was the point of the video. I guess it did not land because all of these government people would have been able to tell it was satirical if the comedy had landed. Not my best work, but it is what it is. You know, you try to be shocking and it just it just doesn't land sometimes. What can I say? I had a phone call with this agent after they had showed up at my house several times, as well as continually having customs harass me when I attempted to go to the United Kingdom. They talked to me both prior to my entry to the country and then after I got back. And I basically just said the same thing each time, like it was a satirical video that someone had re-uploaded with the intention of making me look bad, you know, putting all these keywords, and then, that would lead to people assuming that I actually believe the things in the video because leaving the disclaimer out helped their goal. It helped their agenda, right? Um, I pointed to my upload of the video and stated that there was a disclaimer, and it looks like we're about done here. It was honestly kind of uneventful. Like, I thought this was going to be like some Magnum PI, Reno 911 type shit, where people would be busting down my door, pointing guns at me. This is the number one terror threat in the whole country or something. No, nothing like that happened. I mean, the US government seems to be fairly reasonable about this stuff, unlike the Canadian government, who had like 10 guys waiting for me when I got off the train. So, he was a nice guy, uh, respectful, seemed to understand the predicament that I was in. Um, I, you know, like, I'm very paranoid about, like, being framed for conspiracies and this sort of stuff. I've talked about my mental health many times on this channel, but I feel like maybe there's a small part of me that kind of wished that I would get that kind of attention just because it would be really funny. Like, imagine me making a video like the FBI's unlawful search and seizure of me or something like that. Like, it would be hilarious because, like, I'm registered as a Democrat. You look at my voter registration, and I'm down the line like a consistent supporter of Democrats. The idea that I would be in any way related to January 6th, it's just absurd, right? And then, you look at the things that I've consistently said in my videos that are like in support of left-wing causes. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. So the idea of me having a target on my back when these guys like can't even catch school shooters a lot of the time, like that would be hilarious. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. I just had like one phone call after they left their card here after trying to get a hold of me, and then that was that. They're like there really was nothing else to it. Um, that guy Forrest Anon, if you've heard of him, lives in the woods, makes videos against technology, reads a lot. There was an 8-month long investigation of him just for books that he bought. He just bought books, and they were asking all of his family if he knew how to make bombs, and like harassing just about everybody who ever had contact with him. He makes that video, and he releases his FOIA request, and then come to find out, there was nothing there. Um, that's like a way more eventful thing to occur, you know? I'm honestly kind of disappointed that there wasn't some, I don't know, some people busting down my door or something. Like, I guess this is one example of the government working, because it's very clear that I'm not a threat, to any, like, just look at me. I don't look like someone who would harm anybody. But in that video, where I'm intentionally playing up the absurdity of the situation, trying to look shocking, presenting myself in a shocking manner, it's like, well, okay, it's possible there's a threat here, but there's no threat here, you know? Um, so I understand their concerns, and to be honest, like, I'm kind of glad they looked into me, because it at least shows that the government is trying to get these guys, and is, taking some level of responsibility as far as like the right wing terror threat is concerned. I just wish they would do it to people who are actual threats. Like, they do it to me, but they can't catch school shooters. They can't catch a lot of the people who were actually at the Capitol. It's like, it's a step in the right direction, but at the same time, this is a total waste of tax dollars looking into me, Like, they should look into somebody who's an actual threat to national security. And time again, these school shooter guys, they post about, violent intent 100,000 times over, and they never get nabbed. No one ever comes after them. And then they do these horrific massacres, and it's like, everyone's surprised, like, but they had their heads in the sand the whole fucking time, Like, look at the Club Q shooting that happened recently. That guy was being monitored by the FBI, but then because of familial ties, nepotism basically, he got off their radar, gets a gun, and then shoots a bunch of innocent gay people, If I lived in Colorado Springs, that could have been me. Like, this is happening all over the place. That kid, Robert Cremo, he posted just about 8 million times online about how he was going to, go shoot up a place. And then, what do you know? He shoots up a place. Same with that Uvalde kid. It's like, this stuff keeps happening, and the government can't get their act together and get these guys before they do what they keep saying they're going to do. They investigate me for making a satirical video, Like, at least they were chill about it. Like, at least they seem to understand that this is all pretty silly and I'm not an actual threat. But on the off chance that I'm glad they looked into it, because we got to do something about these guys. Like, plain and simple, we got to do something about these guys. Like, I just wish the government would look into actual threats. Like, I wish they would catch people who do intend on hurting others, not me, who, hasn't had a single solitary thought about hurting anyone, But, I guess it's some level of progress.